Republicans across America are depressed, or so we're told. Not about the possibility of losing to Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, heaven forbid, but about where their fortunes are heading with a candidate most of them don't like, don't know if they can trust, and are once again being told facts about his past that don't jive with a supposed man of and for the people. As the world waits to uncover what really happened to the Egypt air flight that disintegrated into the Mediterranean Sea, America and other civilized nations need to take a moment and turn toward the one country where no one dares carry out an attack using commercial aircraft, with methods we should be copying without question or hesitation. Auto companies are not hesitating to tell us that, whether we like it or not, self-driving cars are coming. You'll own one, you'll like it, and your government will be better for it. Which is all wonderful until you dig into the details and what it means for an aging and decrepit highway system. You are invited to take part in our various discourses at 1-877-NEWSMAX. Listen, dial, opine, and be on target. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hardline for Friday, May 20th, 2016.
It's clear Clinton is going to be much more aggressive. Her super PAC already is running ads kind of showing the outrageous comments that Trump has made about women. And so they're going to confront Trump and basically trust that the big electorate of 130 million people is going to be very different than the 11 to 12 million people who already have supported Trump.
In a news cycle where over the last 24 hours we have been treated to a presidential candidate knee-jerk about terror, a front-page New York Times article proving that any ideas of a southern border wall are more dream than possibility, a Washington Post article pointing out just why this candidate could be hiding any examination of past tax returns, and a former Miss Universe who details how the man who would be president referred to her as Miss Piggy and sent her spiraling into depression. Republicans across America are faced with what the numbers say are absolutes. If the election were held right now, they say, of course, that's a mostly useless statement. It's often used in sports with the ridiculous tag, if the playoffs started today. But they say that Donald Trump would likely lose his bid to become president. That's what the numbers say. Their main reason for getting in line behind the Donald, though, is more apparent than ever. You want to keep Hillary Clinton out, then shut up, get into lockstep, and do what you know is right, or at least what you are told to do. Snap to the phones. Tell us what you've got on the issues at hand. Not everyone makes air, only those worthy of being chosen. From 1-877-NEWSMAX. We lead off then with the man who started Tea Party Nation and is one of those being told to get in line by the Republican hierarchy, Judson Phillips. Joined by the veteran Republican strategist and professor at Georgetown University, Bradley Blakeman. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Judson, I start with you. Let's go right there. The Republican hierarchy is saying people like you, if you want to be a Republican, stop this nonsense about Ted Cruz, anybody else. We know you were a Cruz supporter, but you better get in line, mister, because if we lose this election, it's your fault. What do you say to those people?
Oh, well, conservatives are going to be blamed no matter what happens. But look, if the best message the Trump campaign can give us and the Republicans can give us is, we got to do this to stop Hillary, well, guess what? We're already sunk. All right, Politico had a great idea a couple of days ago. They said if the Republicans are serious, if the message is stop Hillary, let's nominate 3 people, not 1. Trump, Cruz, and Kasich, and let the 12th Amendment kick in. The 3 top vote getters will be decided by the House of Representatives, and that way we know we're going to have a Republican
But you know
president.
that's not going to happen. I get it, but that's all fancy right now. It's all dreams. It's not going to happen because people will say, and you know this, that if Donald Trump loses, Judson, it's people like you that need to shoulder the blame.
You know, it's people who nominated Donald Trump that need to shoulder the blame. You know, we've got a guy, Donald Trump is a career liberal. Most of us form our political ideology when we're in our teens or early 20s. Well, for 40 or 50 years, Donald Trump has been a liberal. The only time he drops this liberal lingo and it drops his liberal beliefs is when he wants to run as a Republican for president. Well, guess what? He's already backing off of everything. And if he gets the election, which I don't think he will, but if he wins, he's going to govern as a liberal.
All right, now we're going to talk about the things that he says versus the things that he did say in a moment. But Bradley, let me come to you because, hey, at the core, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with the Republican management, if you will, telling people that, look, if you don't do your job right now, Hillary Clinton wins this election? I mean, let's face it, in essence, it doesn't make a difference who the party is. Aren't we at all times being told that the most important thing is to keep the other guy, or in this case, gal, out of office, and that's what the job's all about?
The reality is you can play Russian roulette and you're bound to lose. or you can get on board with Donald Trump, who's a heck of a lot better than Hillary Clinton. And I have 2 words for people who don't like Trump: Supreme Court. You're gonna have the opportunity to give Hillary a Supreme Court that'll be there for generations, and that's enough for me as a conservative. I have hope that if Donald Trump becomes president, we're going to be able to surround him with conservative, principled people as appointees in government to lead agencies and bureaucracies. And Donald Trump has already put out a list of the people he's likely to consider if he's president to be on the Supreme Court, which is a fantastic list of 11 qualified people.
Let me stop you there 1 second, Brad. Do you really think Donald Trump knows anybody who's on that list? Do you really think he gets it, that it was just not given to him by the Heritage Foundation and other people, and say, put this out?
You know, the surge was given to President Bush by a think tank. And it's not always government that comes up, or people in government who come up with the best solutions. So whether Donald Trump knew those people or not, the fact that he read about those people and decided that that's a list he'll put out with his name on it, I give him a lot of credit for doing it.
Okay, let's move on then. That's a good point. Let's talk about this. Earlier today, Donald Trump received the endorsement of one of the strongest lobbyist groups in the country, the National Rifle Association. Here it is.
So to get the endorsement, believe me, is a fantastic honor. And I just said to Wayne, and I just said to Chris, I will not let you down. Remember that. I will not let you down.
And we will not avoid the facts at any time, regardless of who the candidate is, and let's get to it. In his 2000 book called The America We Deserve, Donald Trump criticized Republicans who, quote, walk the NRA line and refuse even limited restrictions, and supported the then active assault weapons ban and longer waiting periods for buying a gun. It is a different story now. His website reads, law-abiding people should be allowed to own the firearm of their choice. The government has no business dictating what types of firearms good, honest people are allowed to own. It is, by PolitiFact, an absolute and complete flip-flop. So, Judson, let me ask you then. It's excellent that he gets the recommendation. It's going to help. But how can people in the NRA and other people across America who want Donald Trump trust him if he flip-flops over and over and over again? And that's not an opinion. That is fact compared to this and other issues that he has talked about.
Well, you know, first of all, let's quote Brad Thor, the great novelist. Donald Trump has more positions than a porn star. All right. Number 2, let's do a little history real quick. 2010. I was in Nevada trying to defeat Harry Reid. Donald Trump was in Nevada, not in Nevada, but he was bankrolling Harry Reid. Guess who endorsed Harry Reid in 2010? The NRA did. So, you know, I don't consider the NRA endorsement to be worth much these days, because they're willing to endorse almost anybody. I mean, if you'll endorse Harry Reid, who else will you endorse?
Well, let's get to this, though, because, Bradley, I'll bring you in on this. Is it not fair to say, Judson says that the NRA is not really worth much, that the endorsement is not. Let's be honest, that's a powerful union, a powerful lobbyist in America, a group, if you will. Is this not, though, just, if you want to look at it, and we're going to just throw this out, that the members of the NRA are saying, this is the conservative, this is the Republican, we've got to get behind him regardless of whether we love him, like him, loathe him, whatever. It doesn't make a difference what he said in the past. Isn't this just an example of getting behind the guy because of him being the presumptive nominee?
There's no question about it. And the fact is that in cycles past, the NRA has not endorsed at all. The fact that they've endorsed a presumptive nominee prior to the convention is, in Donald Trump's words, huge. And it is huge. And it's a signal to conservatives and to people who respect the Second Amendment that he's a heck of a lot better than the alternative. Again, there's another example. I gave you the Supreme Court, I gave you the Second Amendment, and there's a heck of a lot more that Donald Trump. I'm not concerned with his flip, because this flip hasn't flopped with the NRA. They're behind Donald Trump, and they believe that his coming around on gun control and gun rights is the right position to take.
Are you then concerned at all, and why would you not be concerned when the Washington Post comes out today in one of their lead stories that Donald Trump once revealed his income tax returns? It showed that the man who basically took on big business at one point never paid a cent. He denounces corporate executives for loopholes, yet it turns out that his income taxes, when it was asked for in a 1981 report by the New Jersey gambling regulators, he paid the federal government $0 in income taxes. Does that not make you step back a moment and just wonder why we still are not allowed to see his tax returns.
Yeah, I want his tax returns. I definitely do. But in 1 year, the reflection of him not paying taxes may not be a reflection at all, because he may have had carried losses. We don't know that. It has to be put into context. But the fact of the matter is, if you're running for president in 2016, your income taxes are relevant. You knew that you were being audited before you announced. And running for president is a choice, and it's an obligation to be transparent. I want to see his tax returns. I certainly do.
I'm glad you said the word context in there, because every single time we bring up a subject like this, I push that forward. Let's see them. But let's then see them and judge them in context, so that no one is able to go over and say, you did this, you did that, and make an assumption, because we all know what assumption is. Judson, Eric Erickson, powerful guy, conservative blogger. But I think this time he might have just gone over the edge. Let's be very serious here. Is the man insane? He writes for The Resurgent that I think the time has come for Mitt Romney. Can we not just leave this behind and let this dog hunt?
Well, I'm sorry, it's never any time for Mitt Romney, except maybe the time to tell Mitt Romney goodbye. Everybody on the conservative side is looking for a good strategy to stop Donald Trump, because Trump will destroy conservatism. The Alexander Hamilton principle, it's better to have a good leader in opposition than to be behind a bad leader in the majority. And I think that's applicable here. Donald Trump, I don't think he's going to get near the White House, because I think he's going to self-destruct throughout this election. And the real disaster here is when we start looking at the down-ticket races. In the Senate, the Republicans are defending 24 seats versus the Democrats 10. That's a bad setup anyway. And I mean, that's just the calendar. It is what it is. But Donald Trump is just toxic to so many races. And there's a real question whether or not the GOP can even hold the Senate. And, do we want to see President Hillary Clinton in 2017 with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer?
It's a good point. Hang on one sec here, because I got 15 seconds left. Brad, to you. What do you think about all this talk about a Clinton-Sanders ticket?
No, I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think they're going to throw Bernie to the curb. They already have. And even if Hillary was indicted, Sanders wouldn't get it. And I think that would make the party absolutely untenable for the fall.
Oh, all these wonderful dreams that are sitting out there. Bradley, Blakeman, Judson Phillips, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. We talked about Donald Trump getting the NRA's endorsement today, a big deal. You are going to see Donald Trump's NRA speech tonight, right here on Newsmax, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Be here to see it and then make your own decision. Phone lines are always open, 1-877-NEWSMAX. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news continues as we turn to a nation that can help us with airline security.